We're going to be making an oat, apple, blueberry breakfast or dessert, depends on when you want to eat it. There's not very much sugar in it. Before we go through the ingredients, the first thing you want to do is take a half cup of oats, and we're going to soak them in hot water. We need a cup of hot water, and it needs to be hot but not boiling. And we're going to let the oats soak in it while we get the rest of the ingredients ready. We're going to need 2 egg whites. So I should get a bowl to put the egg yolks in. And the reason why we're using hot water but not boiling water is because we're going to be adding in the egg whites. And if the water was boiling, it would cook the eggs and scramble them. And we don't want to do that. There's 1. And 2. Next, we're going to need 4 teaspoons of sugar. The original recipe calls for stevia, but I'm going to use sugar. I don't have stevia, and I think any sweetener would work. So we're going to do 4 teaspoons of brown sugar. I think any sweetener would work. The only thing, maple syrup or honey might not work because those are a liquid, and that might disrupt the liquid to solid ratio in this. We need a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm just going to do a splash. Three and a half tablespoons of oil. And the egg yolks don't have another purpose in this recipe. So tonight might be a good night to make eggs for dinner and throw in the extra yolks. Okay, that's 3 and a half tablespoons of avocado oil. Then we're going to need a cup of blueberries. I'm going to whip everything together real quick, just to get it all to mix. And they say if you make something with blueberries, like if you make blueberry muffins, that the way to keep the blueberries from sinking to the bottom is to coat them in flour. This recipe doesn't call for any flour, but I'm going to use a little bit on the blueberries to see if it makes them float throughout the batter. I used a little bit of the soaking water from the oats just to get them wet so that the flour will stick to them. And then I'm only going to use like a tablespoon of flour. Check on your oats, see how much water they've absorbed. And now we're going to peel and grate an apple. It's easiest if you take it across the top, take it across the bottom, and then go down each side. This apple has a little bad spot right there, so I'm just going to take a knife and cut that part out, and then grate the rest of it. And apples oxidize, which means they turn brown when they're exposed to air. So this should be the last step. That way the apples won't be exposed to air for very long. Gonna add those in with the blueberries. And then any water that hasn't been absorbed by the oats, I'm gonna drain off. Now we have warm oats. We're gonna add our egg white mixture. And we need to grease, we need to turn the oven to 355 Fahrenheit or 160 Celsius. Spray down a baking dish. We'll add in the fruit. And gently mix everything together. Or maybe make a better choice when you're deciding what size bowl to put everything in. This will work just fine though. And finally, we're going to add baking soda, a half teaspoon, and 2 teaspoons of vinegar. Those are going to be the leavening agents, the things that make it rise. So you want to add them at the very end, because once the vinegar comes into contact with baking soda, it's going to make things start rising. So I'll mix the baking soda in. And then 2 teaspoons of vinegar. I'm using apple cider vinegar. Mix everything together. Pour it in the pan and bake it for 50 minutes. I feel like when I mixed everything together, I took all the flour off of the blueberries, so we'll see how it looks at the end. Next time I'll add a teaspoon of cinnamon as well. Cook for 50 to 60 minutes. Make sure the bottom has cooked completely and it isn't still wet.